Hi friends, it's Monday night. Welcome to Miller's Laboratory. I am Sue and I'm going to be working in my Headstart journal today. Tonight I have two things planned. We're going to do some stitching in of some extra pages to kind of make a little mini booklet, and then we're also going to make a window page. And so I'm going to start with the window page. There's some gluing that I need to do, so we're going to start that. Then we're going to move to the other one, and then we're going to move back. So we're going to move around a little bit today, but we're going to be starting in the fourth. Is it the fourth? Let's see. The fourth signature of the book. Toward the end, the last page in the signature is this one, where we've added the flap out, the floppy leaves, or whatever you put on yours. And then on the other side of that page is a book page, a nice book page. And then we have this kind of short little page. This is that painter's masking tape paper. Painter's masking paper. So it's quite thin. And the first thing I'll tell you is that I had to trim the bottom of mine a little bit. It was really jaggedy. This is really hard to cut. So if you find that your edges are not real straight, just trim that off so that it looks nice and neat, okay? So the first thing I want to do is I want to make this page a little bit bigger, okay? And to do that, we're just going to do some collage on here, okay? So I've pulled a couple of scraps of papers in different colors of green, and I just thought I would attach one down here and then one up here. I don't necessarily want them to match up here, and then I'll just tear the edge off. So very basic stuff here. And I could even add one of the papers on the other side, and I may do that. So let's first just do this one. And what I'm going to do here to make this a little easier on myself is I'm going to make a little thumb mark on the page so that I can see where the top is going to be. Let's just do that right now. And we're going to put some glue from there down, right along the edge. Okay, easy peasy. And then this paper that I'm going to put on there, I'm just going to go around 3 sides and glue that. You don't really have to worry about the middle part. It'll be fine. So just lay it on there where I want it. Make sure it looks straight. And to make sure, I'm just kind of looking at the page below it and making sure it looks lined up straight with that. All right, and then that is on there. Now, the other one I picked is this sort of embroidery one. You do want papers for this that are at least not plain white on the back, because you are going to flip this over and look at the other side. So I do think I might put, let's see here, I think I might glue it onto the other side just for something different. And I just need to kind of see where that should go. Maybe I should go this way so that I get a little bit of that blue. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, all right. So we need to trim this off a little bit more here. It's just a random scrap. Pick a random scrap. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And you could tear your edges if you like that look too. I like that look, but I just decided on this one that I was going to cut for something different. All right. And I'm just going to cut that right about there. Okay. So all I'm doing is sort of piecing this together to make it into a full page. And it's going to look a little bit like a patchwork sort of a deal. We'll just glue that on there like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go along here. The edge of this is the paper that we just put on, and I'm on the other side of it. Go along there and go along here up to the top. So we're getting that edge glued down nicely. And then we're going to need, I don't like that edge very much. Let me just recut that. And then we're going to glue along here and here. So you could just as easily do this window thing on a page that's already intact, and you don't have to do all this silliness, and if you prefer that, that is totally fine. But now we have this interesting looking page that's sort of Frankenpaper is what they used to call that. Okay, all right, and then what I'm going to do is trim that off. I'm going to give that a little time to dry, and then I'm just going to tear that off with my ruler. So we're going to let that one go for now. I'm just going to put a piece of paper in here to mark it. And we're going to go ahead and do the other project for tonight, which is stitching in some extra pages. And for this, we are going all the way back to the second signature. You have this music paper kind of in the middle here with these smaller pages. And then on the next page, you have this striped one, and it's a flip. So I feel like if you're going to have a flip, there has to be some kind of a payoff. So if somebody's going to take the time to open this up, there needs to be something inside here, whether it's a pocket, a pop-up, a picture, something to see. I think it's important to put something in all those little flips. So we're going to add a little extra book. Okay, and all I did was I chose, I think there's 4 or 5 different papers here. They're different sizes, and I just folded them in half, but not necessarily quite in half like this one. One is bigger than the other one. That makes it easier to turn the pages. Okay, and I just kind of spread them so that they were evenly spread inside of here. But they're definitely all over the place. Some are high, some are low. Okay. And then when you close it, we're just going to want to push all of that as close as we can to our fold here. Okay, so this is really basic. We're going to be putting this in here like this, and we're going to be doing some stitching out here, and this will be like a little mini booklet. Okay, so if you've never done a book before, you're going to learn how to stitch one together here. We're going to go very basic. It's very simple. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the middle here. All right, so here is the middle with all of the pages opened up, and again I am just kind of making sure they're pushed right to the edge there, to that fold. All right, and we're just going to hold this open like this. We are going to do this very simply, and we're just going to use 2 holes. Okay, so I have a needle here, and this happens to be a rather large needle. But it doesn't have to be. It can be whatever you have, okay? And I'm going to come down about, I just want to be in this smallest paper here. So I'm about 1.5 inches down, and I'm just going to put my needle on that fold, and I'm going to poke it right through. See how it poked through here onto the other side, okay? And then you just pull it out. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing down here, and we want it about the same distance from the edge. If you want to measure it, you can. If you want to eyeball it, you can. We're going to poke that through, and now we have 2 holes. Okay, all right. Now I'm just going to set my scissors there so none of that moves around. And I'm going to use embroidery floss here. I mean, even if you don't have bookbinding materials, you probably have some embroidery floss laying around. It's easy to get. If you go to the craft store, you can buy 1 skein of it. You can also use like banker's twine or thin string. You could use thick thread like button thread. Anything that you have that would work. And what we're going to do is, this is my paper here. I'm going to measure a length of string that is 3 times as long as that. So 1, 2, 3. That just ensures that I have plenty of thread, and I can easily tie it in a bow or whatever I want to do. I probably won't use that all of it, but we're going to get it just so we have plenty. Okay, and then for some of you, the hardest part might be threading the needle. If you have a needle with a bigger eye, that's helpful. If you have one of those little needle threader tools, you can do that. I find I just get it wet. I get a little spit on there, and that usually helps me to get it through the hole. Whatever you got to do. Oh my goodness, and see, I missed some of the strands. See, when I do it on film, on camera, it's a lot harder. Get that kind of flattened out like that. And this is really exciting video right here, watching someone thread a needle, right? There. Got it. Okay. All right. So there it is. Give yourself a good tail so you don't accidentally pull it out. And I've got this thread. Okay. So I am going to decide, do I want my little tie to be on the outside of the book or on the inside? And I want mine to be on the outside. So I'm going to turn this around. And I'm going to go in the top hole from the outside and just poke it through all those layers. This can be the hardest part, is finding your way through the holes. If you have to go one layer at a time like this, you can. Just open them up, make sure your needle's going through, grab the next one, make sure your needle's going through. I hope you guys can see that. I'll try to maybe zoom in on it a little bit. All right, there we have half of it done. Okay, now I'm just going to turn my book again because it's easier for me. And I'm going to be going through this hole and all the way back to the outside. So if you have to work your way one page at a time, it's totally fine. You could also clip this, like you could put some nice long paper clips on there to hold it in place, and then you wouldn't have to fiddle with it so much. And that probably would have been a smart thing for me to do for this video, but I didn't. So there we go. Needle is through. We're going to go ahead and pull it. And I'm just going to pull that tail out, because look at my tail is so long it's still over here. There we go. Okay. So I have plenty of thread here. Okay. And now you can choose where you want to tie it. You can tie a bow, you can tie a knot. I find that it's a little easier to tie if you go up to where the hole is and tie it there. It just kind of stays in place a little better. So you want to pull it snugly, but not so snugly that you tear your paper. And then just go ahead and make yourself a little knot. And if it doesn't get tight enough, just redo it. It's okay. All right. It's not super tight, but we don't necessarily need it to be super tight. It just needs to be holding it in. Okay. So now we have all these, oh my gosh, not even on the middle of the camera. And then we have all these extra little pages in there. Okay. And then we'll just tie ourselves a bow here. You could put some beads on there on the end or whatever you want. And that's going to hang out from your book and look really cute. Okay. I'm just going to leave it about like that. And then if you want to, and it's a good idea, you can just put a little dab of glue on there, and that will keep that from coming out. There we go. All right. So I'm going to just trim mine off a little bit. I'm not going to put beads on mine, but it does look really cute if you do, or a charm or something. Okay. All right. So there we have it. And that's just going to be closed. And that's what it will look like from the outside. And then when you turn to that page, all this cool space where you can glue pictures, you can paint, you can write. All this nice extra paper here. Okay, cool. All right, let's go back to where we were for that window. Okay, and I think this all should be set up and dry. So I'm going to grab my ruler and we're going to do our best to tear a nice tear here. Go. Okay, So now we have, it's still just a page, but it's like a little patchwork page. It's really cute. Okay, so we're going to be putting our window right in here. And first thing we need to do is get a little frame. So I have this piece of paper that I thought I might use as a frame. I think that looks nice on there. Okay. And then I'm going to have this one on the other side because the window is going to go all the way through here. Okay. But we're not going to use this one quite yet. All right. Now the next thing is, if you have a punch, you can use a punch to do this window. But if you don't, you can just cut it with an X-Acto knife. Just put your cutting mat under there and cut your shape. It can be a square, a diamond, a rectangle, just a random sort of unusual shape. Whatever you want to do is totally fine. Okay, but I have this 2-inch circle punch, and so I cut this as a 3-inch square. Okay, now the next thing I want to do, because I haven't even tried this yet, is I want to make sure that I can get all the way down into the middle. Like, how far down can I punch this hole to make this work? So what I'm going to do, I'm not punching this yet. I'm just coming in from the top here, or you can come in from the side, whichever way you want. And we're going to see, does that reach all the way to the middle? It does not. So how far down are we going to be able to go with this? It looks like it's awkward. It looks like we're just going to put it down as far as we can. Okay, and this is awkward. I'm holding my book up and I'm pushing this down as far as I can, and I'm going to go ahead and punch. All right, and let's just pop that out. Oh Lord, it's a disaster. Okay, it's not a disaster, don't panic. I should have taken my own advice and put an extra piece of paper in there, because what's happening is because this painter's paper is so thin. All right, so it came out okay, but I don't want you guys to struggle with it like I just did. So if you're going to use a punch, what you should do is take an extra piece of paper, lay it over, and then go in and punch your punch. What you're doing is adding some thickness to this thin paper, and then it will not do that. It will not do what we just did. I'm glad that happened on camera, because it happens to the best of us. Okay, all right. So that's where my window is going to be. Now my frame, then, I'm going to change this up a little bit, because it's probably not going to be able to be in the middle. I don't know. We're going to see. All right. I'm going to try it anyway. All right, so this was a square, if you remember. So if we fold diagonal to diagonal and just put a tiny pinch, don't fold it all the way, just put a tiny pinch in the middle. And then do it the same thing the other way. We will find the middle of this square, okay? All right, and it even tore out a little bit. I'm going to just mark that so you can see it. It's right there. All right, so that's where I want to put that's where I want the middle of my circle to be when I punch this. And I'm going to punch this guy at the same time. So we're going to line those up. Remember, this is the frame to go on the other side of the page. All right, we'll line those up so that we are equal. Grab our punch again, and we're going to put this in here so that the X is in the middle. Let's see if I can do it. I think that's pretty good. There we go. Okay. And I think I did okay here. I think I did okay. I was going to show you guys where I got this paper. I have this little, sorry, here's a little aside. I have this beautiful book that I found that I someday will make into a journal. Isn't that the most beautiful cover with the gold and everything? And it has these really pretty pages in it. And I'm calling it my doodle book. So when I'm sitting watching TV and I'm not working on something else, I use pastels or gel pens and I scribble on the pages and put patterns and stuff. Even just like little crosses or polka dots or whatever. And then it makes some cool pattern paper that you can use in your books. So that's where this came from. Okay, so we're going to be gluing that on there. And we're going to be gluing the other one on the other side. And we can do one of them now, but don't do both of them now, okay? Because we have to put something inside the window. So I think what I will do, this paper is slightly sturdier, so I'm going to use this to attach what's going to go in the middle here, and I'll show you that in a second. I'm going to go ahead and glue this down around my hole, and it will be done. So again, if you don't have a big punch like that, just cut a shape, okay? You can just cut a shape. You could put all of your layers together and paper clip it, or use a tiny bit of a glue stick to hold them in place just while you do it. Put your cutting mat under there, cut out your shape, and then separate your layers and put in the middle. You could totally do it that way. Make sure it's lined up pretty good and also straight. We're going to call that good. Okay. All right. So now we can see through to the other side. We're going to put something fun in here. Okay. And what I chose, because my theme is the tree theme, is to put a piece of a leaf in there. So what I'm going to do is sandwich this in so that you only see this little bit of a profile of it. I just have to decide what part I want to use. Maybe I want it right there, or maybe I want it here. I think I want that part right there. Okay, so obviously I don't need this whole leaf. We're going to turn this over, and it's going to be going here. I'm just going to cut it a little bit so that it fits larger than this. So what I did with this leaf is I pressed it, and then I sprayed it with some sealer. Let me grab it so I can show you. Rust-Oleum Satin Clear Enamel. I just was hoping to add a little bit of strength to the leaf is all. And it did give it a tiny bit of a sheen. But that's the only reason I put it on there, is to try to make the leaf a little bit stronger. Okay, all right. Now, this is going to be going on here like this. And we don't want this to show around here. So we definitely have to cut this off some more. We'll cut it right to here. And I'm going to cut a little bit more off the bottom, I think. I don't think I need any of that. Okay, let's see which way this goes. I think it goes this way. So we're going to glue this in here like this. Just like that, and then it's going to show through the window like that. A little bit of a profile of a leaf, okay? Just something kind of different. Do it like that. All right. Put the glue a little bit here. I do want this to be glued down pretty well. I'm just going to add glue around here because I'm not exactly sure where it goes. Make sure it's all covered. Okay. Is that the way it goes? I think it goes like this. Let's get it right up in here like that. We're just going to call that good. Isn't that cool? Okay, I do like it. All right. And then let's put the glue here. All the rest of it, except not on the leaf, okay? Go around your edge, and you can go around a little bit more like this. And then you're going to put it on here, around here, to make sure it's sealed down around the circle. Okay. And just match up your circle as best you can, and you're golden. There we go. Press it down. Let me just get my... I don't know where my bone folder got to. Let's see. We'll just use my thumb. The good old thumb will work. Oh, that's what I didn't want to do. All right. Good thing I put that stuff on there. All right. So now we come to this page, and it's got this leaf in there. Is it delicate? Yeah. But we're going to hope that it holds up okay. I think I could even add a little bit of glue if I had to it, just to make it a little stronger. Just spread it on there. So I'll remember not to close the book quite yet. That's how that one goes. All right. Now, you may be saying, I don't want to put a leaf in my book. That doesn't go with my theme. So I made a few other little samples of windows with different materials so you could see maybe one of these would suit you better. All right, so this one is just a piece of printed vellum, and you can see the pattern on it, and it looks very pretty, and you can still see what's through the window there. This is 2 layers of wax paper folded over and glued, and these are just little punched out little stars in there, loose. You can put in. Looks really cute. This is just a piece of lace that I stretched over the hole. Doesn't show so much on this page, does it? It would show better on a darker page, like even like that. See? But a colored lace would be pretty over a white page. Okay. This one is kind of the similar idea. I just glued strips of rickrack in there. It could be ribbon, you could use yarn, whatever you wanted to just make like a pattern. And then that lays over there and looks cool, right? This is a pressed flower, and it kind of looks opaque and cool, I think. What I did for this one is I took plain white tissue paper, a single layer. I spread Elmer's glue, like I squiggled Elmer's glue on 1/2, and I spread that out with my finger. And then I laid my flowers on there, and then I put the glue on the other half of the tissue paper and spread it out. Doesn't have to be really thick, but you want to cover the whole thing. And then you fold it over and press it all down around the flowers and let it dry. And that's what you get. I think that's really cool too. All right. One more idea that I didn't make a sample of, but I have this package of really cool different kinds of mesh paper. My son got me this. I think he got it on Amazon. But there's all these really cool patterns. So instead of lace, you could use something like this. You know, like, isn't that really cool? It looks like a spider web almost or something. So something like that, or this mesh, would look really cool too. So, all right. So there's my ideas. And we are all set for this week. So I hope you'll tune in again next week. Thank you so much.